Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Caccera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Caccera.
Welcome in, Joe Caccera with Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. As we roll through the week, I'm very excited to kick off our series that we're going to launch here. And this is actually the first week of the continuing series of innovative technology in the real estate industry and really how it's changing, how it's transforming the industry. So be sure to tune in. We hope to have, over the next couple of months, several interviews with not only owners, CEOs, executives of a lot of the startup companies that are transforming the real estate industry, but also venture capitals, anybody else that is really of the mindset that things are changing and there's a lot of disruption taking place in this industry. We want to kind of keep you posted. As you know, our show for the last 7 years, the focus has been education and information. The objective really is to help you, the consumer, and that won't change, to become a more wise and educated consumer in and around your real estate, really to help you do that, make decisions is what we want to try to do. Before I get started and introduce my guest, just a reminder, if you need any assistance on the real estate financing, maybe need to get approved or you need a real estate agent, financial planner, CPA, we have a great network of professionals here with Real Estate Radio Live. We could help you with any of these things. You can reach out to me a couple different ways. One is call or text 408-838-9060, or you could always email joe@reradiolive.com. All right, let me invite my guest in, Mr. Ben Rubenstein. He's the founder and CEO of Opcity. Good to have you with us here today, Ben.
Oh, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's exciting. The first kickoff here of the series. Again, we'll continue to discuss how the real estate industry is transforming, and hope to get some good insight today. So thanks again. If you can, for our listeners, Ben, if maybe just take a minute to give us your background and then your current roles and responsibilities with Opcity today.
Wonderful, yeah. So my background is, well, before I started Opcity, I was one of the founders of a company called Yodel. Yodel helps small businesses advertise online, some in real estate, but in many other types of verticals like plumbing, electricians, your lawyer, your doctor, really any former Yellow Page advertiser. And I helped grow Yodel to be from 0 to 1,500 employees. We had over 60,000 customers when I left. We were doing over $200 million a year in revenue. And we had a really sophisticated call center. We were making about 1.5 million cold calls every month for about 850 salespeople. And we had spent a lot of time and effort scoring the 20 million small businesses in the United States based on who has had the highest probability of our salespeople closing. We would make scores based on firmographic piece of information, based on annual revenue, credit rating, number of employees, behavioral information. We scraped the web and we knew where businesses had advertised for the last 10 plus years. So we knew more about their advertising behavior than they remembered about themselves. And then interaction data, because we called these businesses so many times, we knew how far along we'd gotten with them. And our goal was to give the right lead to the right sales rep at the right time to really maximize that conversion.
Got it.
And so we built a lot of tools and technology around that. And so that's very similar to kind of what we're doing at Opcity. So I left Yodel after over a decade there, and I really want to get back into the entrepreneurial space. I miss starting a company and growing something quickly from the ground up. So I met up with a friend of mine who had started a residential real estate brokerage about over 16 years ago now in Austin and Dallas called Home City Real Estate. And this brokerage was pretty tiny. They're only about 2% of the Austin, Dallas market, but they were doing something really, really interesting in buying a phenomenal number of online leads. And they could afford to do this because they were converting these leads at 2 to 4 times the industry average. They were originally founded as actually a tech company and converted quickly to a tech brokerage, and had invested millions in dollars in building a matching model to connect the right lead to the right agent at the right time, and then a process to follow up with those agents to make sure those deals close. So that was very similar to what I was doing at Yodel, which was, in matching and finding how do you connect, lead to the right sales rep. This is very similar, the right consumer to the right agent, and what you need to do to maximize conversion there. So we saw what they were doing and said, wow, this is really impressive what they're doing on the smaller scale. We could take this to brokers across the whole country. And that's exactly what we did. We scaled that out very quickly. So unlike most startups, we had some huge competitive advantages. The first being, access to a product that had been refined in the wild for the last 16 years. The second is all of our call center experience and the team that we knew in Austin to be able to pull this off. I mean, I don't care if you had $10 billion, you wouldn't know who the top salespeople are in town. Right? And then we knew that. And then finally, access to capital. We had worked with a number of different venture capital firms, and we were able to raise the largest Series A in Central Texas history.
Wow.
So we've been able to move very, very quickly because of a lot of those competitive advantages.
Well, congratulations. Sounds like so. In summary, you're able. I mean, through this platform that was already developed and working on, you're more. I would guess more quality leads. You'll be able to close more, match people, and so that you guys will then feed the leads to the real estate industry. Is that in theory what happens then?
Yeah, I'll walk you a little through how the process works.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So we first interact with consumers when they start searching on either one of the major portals or somewhere else online. So, we're not playing in the search and discovery space. So it used to be, for instance, you wanted to find an agent, right? Or sorry, you wanted to buy a house. Step one was find an agent. Right? That's the way the world used to be.
Yep.
Today, as a consumer, step one, you want to buy a house, you go online and you go look at available inventory. Right. You think about Realtor and Zillow and Homes and or a lot of brokers have, their own websites. They're trying to get consumers to start the process themselves. It's kind of self-serve, right? Before you talk to an agent, well, let's go see online what's available, right? What neighborhoods do I want to live in? What prices seem reasonable in the neighborhood? Well, let me look at some pictures of the homes, right? So the search and discovery process has changed, right? Where consumers are now finding homes before they ever speak to an agent. And just because real estate's gotten easier to find doesn't necessarily mean that it's gotten easier to buy.
Right.
Right? Just because I know what all the houses are in the market or I can see what they all look like without having to go to them doesn't make the process of negotiating or ultimately moving into that house or selling my home any easier. And so that's where I think a lot of tech companies have focused is on the top of the funnel, is on the search and discovery process. I mean, there's clearly a ton of competition in that space.
Right.
Trying to get consumer eyeballs to look at homes. Where we step in is in the next step, right? A consumer has found a house that they like. They've raised their hand and said, I'd like to go see this property, right? Because they've typed in their name and phone number and email. And we take them from that step all the way to transaction, all the way to close. And we really see ourselves as their concierge there.
Yeah.
And so how we do that is consumers say would go to realtor.com, right? See a house they loved, type in their phone number, name, and email. That goes directly to us.
Okay.
We then call the consumer up. We're open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. And then in the evening, we have automated text conversations with people as well. So we're instantly responsive, which is what people expect at this point, right? They want quick response. And we ask them a few questions, right? We say, we're a coordinator for the brokerage. Let me ask you, how soon are you looking to move? Do you have an agent? Where are you looking to move? How much are you looking to spend, right? Just building a pretty basic profile on who this consumer is.
Right.
And in parallel to that, we're scoring our thousands of agents based on who will have the highest probability of helping this consumer and closing the sale. And we're scoring them based on factors such as historically where have they sold homes, right? The neighborhoods, the zip codes, what price points have they sold at? What languages do they speak? Do they work better with first-time home buyers or empty nesters downgrading or people moving from out of town into town or in town within town, right? What's their current capacity? And most importantly, when we pass them a referral, do they move them through the pipeline ultimately to close or do they do nothing with them at all? And so while we have this customer on the line, we've asked them these questions, we've scored all of these agents. In real time, with the customer on the line, we click one button and it sends text messages but we now have an app, so it sends push notifications as well to each of our agents, not at once, but in this priority order, staggering them based on who will have the highest probability of closing.
Okay.
And in this way, we can understand real-time availability of which agent is free right now, right? Just like Uber, right? You would send, if you call an Uber, it sends messages to not every car who drives for Uber,
True.
but just the ones in a specific geographic area, and it sends it in order, seeing which one's available right now.
Right.
The first agent to click on our text or notification will see on their screen, congrats, you're the first agent to accept this referral. Hold on 1 second. We then say to the customer, hold on 1 second, I have the perfect agent for you. Put the customer on hold, call up the agent, explain the situation, and then bridge the call, introduce the two parties, and set up an appointment for tomorrow.
Got it.
So from a consumer's perspective, this is tremendous, right? I was looking online, I see a house that I liked, I clicked on a button, I was instantly called, and not just connected with any agent, but an agent who knows my neighborhood, knows my price point, can help me out. I'm speaking to right now, and we're going to go see that property tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from an agent's perspective, it's even better, right? Out of the blue, I got a text message. I clicked on it. I'm speaking to an actual customer who's been curated for me. And now we're actually speaking to each other. You know, we have an appointment for tomorrow. And by the way, I didn't pay anything for this. I only pay when the deal closes.
Yeah, so there's a vetting system at the same time. It sounds great. And it's rating and reviews, so you have those in advance. So then I'm guessing, so you just mentioned that when you match those two, when you match the realtor and the client, then we have about a minute before we're going to take a first break, but I'll just kind of wrap this part of it up, Ben. When you match them, then they go to work together, and then the agent or the broker then pays a fee to your company at closing. Is that how that works?
Yes. You know, so many other marketing programs out there charge the broker and agent up front.
Correct.
And don't bear any of the risk. What we do is we bear all of that risk.
Right.
And in order to do so, we can't work with just any agent. We only work with the top 15 to 20% of agents based on their production. But also, we don't just pass the referral over. We stay on top of that agent and broker post-referral. And they're required to update us along the way. And if the agent's doing a tremendous job, we're going to give them more referrals. If they're doing a poor job, not only will we stop giving them referrals, we'll take this away and give it to another agent. So what happens post-referral is very, very important.
Perfect. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to continue our conversation with Ben Rubenstein. He's been kind enough to spend some time with us. He's the founder and CEO of Opcity. We're talking about the real estate industry, how it's being disrupted, how online, how technology is changing the way consumers interact, both in and out of their real estate with the industry, as well as what's next for the consumer. So when we come back, we'll talk more to Ben and find out a little more information. This is, again, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be back to continue in just a minute.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com.
Hi, this is Joe Kuchera, host of Real Estate Radio Live and Bay Area Mortgage Planner. In addition to being your home financing expert, please remember you could always contact me for other trusted advisors such as realtors, financial planners, and CPAs. Please feel free to contact me at 408-838-9060. That's 408-838-9060, or email joe at reradiolive.com, or visit my website at reradiolive.com for more details.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. We are kicking off, speaking of series, a series over the next couple of months on the topic is going to be the innovation of technology in the real estate industry. How is technology changing real estate? Is it moving more online? Is it going to be taking the real estate agents completely out? All these questions will be answered, discussed, debated over the next couple of months. Really exciting to have Ben Rubenstein on the line today. He is with us, the founder and CEO of Opcity, and helping to kick us off the series, discussing about the new marketplace in which they created, the success they're having. We talked a little bit about that in the first segment. I'm going to dive in, Ben, now and talk a little bit about so the model you have, which, again, I would agree, and I'm not just saying it because I'm interviewing you. We do this research on a regular basis. I think statistics and data do show us, if we look at it, and this is even provided to the world by the National Association of Realtors, 95% of people start their search online, but then when it comes to making a decision, we still have nearly 90%, I think it's about 87%, that still want to choose and work with a qualified realtor. So there's different models out there. Maybe you could take a minute, Ben, or a couple minutes, and there's a bunch of money being thrown out there, invested to disrupt this industry. You guys seem to be on target, taking your data. But then there's several different models that think, I would say, that they're advocating that they're just going to completely take the real estate out of the equation, real estate agent, I'm sorry. Maybe speak to that and some of those and why, you think yes, right, or wrong, or what direction that is.
Yeah, well, I think there's a number of models that are really, some models are crazy and don't listen to consumers, but I think there's a number of models that have really said, well, let me hear what the consumer's pain is and see if I can solve that pain. Mm-hmm. And if in doing so, we can disrupt this industry, great. So I think a good example of that might be the iBuyers, like Open Door or OfferPad or those guys out there. Mm-hmm. And what I like about those models is that they listen to the consumer, right? Which is selling your property and takes time. And, do you really want to get the kids out of the house and the animals out of the house and clean up and get your house all ready? Or do you just want to sell this thing? And so what they're saying is, hey, I will buy your house right now from you. You don't have to deal with the painful listing process. Now, in exchange for that, they're going to take a bigger cut, or you're going to get probably less money than you normally would on, say, the open market. So I think for a sector of people, this is tremendous, right? If there's a death in the family or divorce, say you just inherited your mother's home in Florida and you don't want to go to Florida to get the house ready, right? You're willing to take a discount for convenience. Mm-hmm. And so I think that definitely answers what those consumers need and is disruptive in the space. Mm-hmm. But then, in my opinion, there's the majority of customers out there or consumers who say, listen, I don't need to sell my house this second. And I live here, so I don't mind cleaning it up a little bit to make a little more money. And so what they want is to get top dollar for their house. And so those companies don't necessarily help solve that issue. And that's why, so much of our business is around empowering strong agents. Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of tech companies who think out there agents are all going to go away. My belief is the bad agents will go away, but better agents will do more transactions. Right. There's over 2 million people with a real estate license in the United States. I believe over 1 million last year, less than one transaction, which is also known as zero transactions, meaning they are. By the way. They're not doing a lot. They don't know. They're not helping that much, right? I mean, would you go to a lawyer who had only, say, one case ever, right? I see, and we were just talking about this at the break. Using a real estate agent is like using an attorney. You can go represent yourself, but most people don't because the stakes are too high. Mm-hmm. The stakes in real estate are pretty high too, right? Yeah. This is most people's largest financial transaction they're going to do in their lives. And they want a good representative and a good negotiator on their behalf. Mm-hmm. My personal story, I was also telling you at the break, was I bought a condo not too long ago, and I wanted one price and the developer wanted another, and we were at a standstill. And my agent, who had already sold a number of units in that building, said, listen, I've brought 4 people to this building, to the developer. You take this price or I'm not bringing anybody back. And in the end, I was able to get the price I wanted, right? And that's because I had an agent who knew my building, knew my neighborhood, knew my price point, had something unique to offer, and could negotiate in a way that I couldn't have done on my own. And so that's why I think agents who know what they're doing, know specific areas, have done lots of transactions, will always be valuable when people are trying to get top dollar for their house. Yeah. If they're just get speed and price doesn't matter, then that's where a lot of the iBuyers can really take over.
Yeah, I would agree. Where do you think over the time? I mean, any world of, especially like this, commissions, and when I say the world of real estate, of course, we're in Northern California, Silicon Valley, and so you have the lending side, the real estate side. Certainly people don't have to get financing when they get a home, but a lot of times they do. And then, of course, in certain areas of the United States, here particularly in California, we have title and escrow. So in my mind, there's three components of a transaction, and there's certainly been a compression, or at least a over time, pressure, I'll call it, on commissions and business models, and it's indicative, I think, to all of us in our different industries to either look at that and figure that out and try to be on the leading edge. Where do you think, in respect to real estate, where do you think that kind of commission structure is going? I know that the National Association of Real Estate has a huge lobbying body. Matter of fact, my understanding is they're more powerful than the pharmaceutical industry. They spend a lot of money protecting those commissions. What do you think that's going to look like as the next couple of years go on?
Well, I mean, you look at Redfin, who charges less in commission, right, because they give 1.5% back to both sides. Mm-hmm. You look at a bunch of these other startup types that have reduced commissions. I think through time commissions will compress, but I think the best agents will make more money because of technology. Mm-hmm. I think there are too many people with a real estate license who might be doing small transactions without technology, because it's fairly easy to get involved in some small transaction.
Right.
I think as commissions compress, you will not be able to be a tiny little guy who doesn't do very much, but technology will allow the strong agents and strong teams to do that much more. Mm-hmm. So I see the future as potentially on an individual deal, lower commissions, meaning compressed commission, but the better agents making even more money because they have technology behind them to do that many more transactions with stuff that used to be manual in the past.
Right.
I mean, most other industries, let's say you want to be a barber, right? There are a lot of things keeping people out from being a barber. First of all, it's not easy. You need to, go through many tests and certifications, and then other barbers are trying to keep you out. You need to be hired by somewhere, and again, they're trying to keep the supply limited. Mm-hmm. In real estate, it's almost the opposite. It's really trying to have as many agents as possible, and the barriers to entry aren't that high, and a lot of people do this part-time, which is a disservice to the consumer because they may not know what they're doing.
Right.
And so I think the barrier to entry will be higher in real estate because of the use of technology, that if you don't have this technology and you don't have these unique skills, it's going to be harder to survive.
Good point. Let me talk a little bit about, we have about 3 or 4 minutes left. I want to make sure I dive into some important stuff here as far as I think on the consumer. So you have the Zillows out there. They've been under a lot of scrutiny lately. A lot of, there's two sides of that. A lot of people think, they've grown big. They were one of the leaders in this space, really making some progress. I think their notion first was to change the real estate industry and actually take over, but then I think they realized that there was a model there for advertising and partnering, so then they became closer to the industry and charge and make a lot of their revenue via the fees that they pay for leads, and to be exposed into different reviews, and to be in certain areas of the site, et cetera, et cetera. Take a couple of minutes, if you will, Ben, to explain. I mean, I get the difference, but the difference in what you guys are doing versus what, say, a Zillow has created over the years. And now it seems like, on the other hand, real quickly too, they seem to be alienating the partners in which they've been working alongside for the last several years.
So I think we're very complementary to Zillow in a way. As I was talking about earlier, Zillow is really perfected and done a great job at the search and discovery process. Mm-hmm. Prior to Zillow, people could go to broker websites or many other places, but I think as the consumers, they've done a great job thinking about the consumer, right? What did the consumer want to see? They want to see homes in an organized fashion on a map that they can easily see that information and use it well. So what Zillow does is help in that search and discovery process, right? They then sell leads to agents of consumers who have done their search and discovery and said, I want an agent. Where we step in is we take those leads, and we're working with a number of brokerages who have this problem, and help take those leads and turn them into transactions. So today, let's say you're a big broker, right, and you buy a lot of leads from Zillow. Well, how do you know which agents are available now? How do you know which agents to give them to that will close them? How do you keep those agents accountable to close these deals? Because a lead off of Zillow is very different than your cousin who wants to move, right? Mm-hmm. It's somebody you don't know that you need to follow up with more.
Right.
And so we're very complementary with Zillow in that a broker who buys a lot of traffic on Zillow, instead of just randomly round-robining it, will send it to us. We'll use our team to scrub and screen it, but more importantly, to distribute it to their agents, the right agents at the right time who are available, and stay on top of those agents to make sure that they close, and thus they get a higher ROI from Zillow, and thus could spend more money on Zillow. So it's this cycle, right? If you buy from Zillow and you don't know what you're buying or doing anything with, then it's not going to become value, right? If you buy from Zillow, someone like us, it's kind of like Zillow is this diamond mine. And many times agents go to the diamond mine and just say, well, this is a bunch of rocks. What am I going to do with these rocks? Right. And we're partnering with Zillow to make sure that those rocks look like diamonds and people know how to use those diamonds.
Yeah, well said. Well, just a minute or so left. I think what we do, if you don't mind, maybe there's so much more to talk about, but we'll wrap this up, but we'll have you back in a month or so as a follow-up because we'll continue just providing the consumer, which is our job, to really what's going on in the industry and get some good feedback, and it's been a good source. If consumers want to know more about the website, how they could interact, what they could do with what's the best place for them to go, Ben?
Well, so for us, Opcity.com.
Okay.
Right now, our website in our whole world is more catered towards brokers and agents.
Okay, I see. All right.
Because we are working with them who have acquired traffic from major portals and other places.
Perfect.
But if consumers are interested or want to talk to us about helping them through the home buying process, we're happy to do that too.
Yeah, so I want to make that clear. We have a fair amount of percentage-wise of people in industry, agents that follow the show and are loyal listeners, so that's good to get out again information. If there's any, so you're saying if there's any agents in specific areas that are interested to partner with you guys, they would be the ones specifically to contact you and see how they could partner to do business with you.
Well, so we actually don't sign up agents directly. We typically sign up to brokerage, and then they give us the agents that would be this program. Okay. Brokers have done a lot to curate specific e-teams or relocation teams or things like that. And ultimately, we're not on the ground with these agents, so we partner with the broker to help manage the agents and get the deals closed. Now, if an agent is really curious and loves what we're doing, they could bring this up to their broker. We sign a co-brokerage agreement with that broker. So ultimately, it's not the agent who pays this, it's the broker who does, right? But oftentimes, the way we're introduced to brokers is through agents. So I wouldn't discourage any agent who's interested in getting more opportunities that are scrubbed and only paying when they close. Reach out to your broker. Or reach out to us. We'll give you more information. We'll get your broker signed on and then bring on the agent after that.
Very good. Hey, Ben, I want to thank you again for your time. And sounds like you guys are off to a great start, for coming on, sharing this information. And I'm sure we'll have you back maybe in a month or so as a follow-up. It'd be great. Thank you for inviting me, Joe. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you're welcome. And all the best of luck to you, Ben. Take care. All right, thanks. Talk to you soon. Yep. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. What a great interview with Ben. He is the founder and CEO of Opcity. Remember, we're going to continue this series over the next couple of months. Be sure to tune in and provide the information. Share it with your friends, coworkers, family. For more information, you can go to reradiolive.com. Until next time, take care. You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at reradiolive.com.